What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Uncle Frank, and today we've got something really special. I've wanted to do this for a long time because it's something that I wanted to have. We're going to be doing a podcast for you guys once a week for an hour. We're going to have these conversations with you guys in the comment section. That's going to be our biggest thing. We want you guys to contribute to this. We're going to be going over some rumors, some inside information about things that are coming, and we're going to be discussing that. Is this something you guys are going to want to see, or is it something that, you know, you're just not interested in? But we're going to try to get you guys that information as soon as possible. And we're also going to try to just open your mind up and have conversations about what's going on in the game. What do you like doing? What do you want to see added to it? And blah, 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 the whole thing. We're going to give you guys something to do while you're driving home from work, or you're hiding under your desk while that girl next door is banging on her cubicle trying to get your attention. You're in the bathroom stall with the door locked, hiding from your boss with your headphones in. You're listening to Frank Castle, and I want to introduce my friend Wade Wilson. And our topic of conversation tonight is going to be roles. What roles are supposedly coming, and what roles we'd like to see in the future. Now, first off, the first three roles that we got in a big chunk in the summer. So we got those three roles as like a quarterly release. Think of this financially too, guys. Rockstar is a company, and they're going to want to do financial releases, right? So they're going to do it quarterly. So we see a summer quarterly release where it's this big, you know, release where we get three roles and a whole bunch of content, right? And then we have all of this layoff where we were supposed to get another three roles, but instead we get the Moonshiner update. And here's why I think that happened, guys. The rumors were, and Crips is he's going to talk a little bit here. We're going to have a little bit of Crips action because we're sitting by the fire. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we are actually sitting by the fire with Crips. So you're going to have a little bit of him, and maybe the dog, and maybe some weirdness if people go by. But we wanted to give you guys that environment, right? So here's the thing. We got these three updates, or these three roles with an update. Then we're supposed to get three more. We get one. We get a Moonshiner. Well, the other two roles that were supposed to be attached to that were a lawman and a villain role. Now, the details of that are kind of fuzzy, but that is pretty much the consensus from all of the insider information, that we were supposed to get those two roles along with the Moonshiner role. So here's my theory on things to come in the future, and then we're going to get into the roles that we want to see, and I really want your input on this, guys, right? So I think what Rockstar did was they said we had this massive summer release that was a really big problem. We had a lot of bugs and kinks we had to kind of sort out and work through, right? Let's do it this way. Instead of having these massive releases where we have to go through and we have three major topics that we have to cover and address, right? Let's break it up per month, one video per month. Because if you do the math, guys, we got 4 quarters of business. We were doing 3 roles in 1 quarter, right? And then we had basically 3 or 4 months off. We're going to get 12 roles is my opinion on this, right? And we're going to break it up into groups. They were going to break it up into groups of 3, and now they're going to do it a trickle-down effect of once a month. That's what I think. I think this month in January, you guys are going to get either the hero or the villain role, or maybe those two coupled together, and then you won't see one for a month or 2, right? But that's my theory, is that we're going to see about 12 different roles for the game in its early stages, and then we're going to see that broken up month to month. Now, here's something that I really wanted to talk to you guys about because I think it's amazing, and not a lot of people know about this. What brought me back into the game was there was an interview done with the president of Rockstar North. The president of Rockstar North went over for about an hour what his vision and plan was for the game. And Uncle Frank is a major bullshit artist detector, guys. I have a great meter for this, and I honestly believe this guy. I think that what he was saying, he meant it, and that's how it's going to go. Now, he did this in very broad strokes, guys, but he said not exactly this, but I'm paraphrasing here, obviously, but this is the gist of what he said, and this is what brought me back to Red Dead, was kind of his vision and direction with the game. He said this is a 6 to 10 year plan of development with the game. He wants to make sure that everybody has the chance to experience life kind of going on the plains and being an outlaw and not having a place to stay or live, and that's why the properties haven't come, right? He wants us to trickle into businesses. So it's not going to be the same kind of effect where we're going into GTA, we're buying this massive property, we've got these businesses right away, and we didn't really kind of experience all the hardships and turmoil it takes to get to these businesses, guys. So he wants us to grind and work, and this is a 6 to 10 year plan. That was what he said. And the vision of the game is eventually, and this is before we got any of these roles. We didn't have the trader, we didn't have anything, guys. And what he said was, I want the businesses to start from your camp, and I want you to build up your camp into owning properties. Now look, now we've got the Moonshiner property, right? So it's happening exactly the way that this speech went. And the interesting part is what he says next. And this is what I think you guys are going to really love. This is what brought me back to the game. He said that he wants you to start your business from your camp and work your way up to a Leviticus Cornwall role, where you're basically going to own railroads, things like that, but you are not going to be able to get there without having put in the work. And if you look at the way the roles are set up, guys, it is exactly that way. We have to grind to get the experience to get to a specific role. Now, we're going to compound that, and we're going to have to go through all of these different steps to get to a role like a railroad baron, like a Leviticus Cornwall. So that really excited me, that we weren't going to be able to just log in. We weren't going to be able to just, pay to play type thing and buy a railroad or buy a shark card, you know what I mean, and just get your character all set up. That wasn't the way this is going to work, and I thought that was amazing. So, that being said, on top of all of that, he wanted to really bring in the role play aspects of the game. And if you guys look at what he's done, or what they've done, we're actually building a crew, which I think is amazing. It's kind of happened slowly without us even really noticing, but imagine when we first started out, we get broken out of jail, and who do we meet? We meet, I can't remember the lady's name right off the top of my head, but we get associated with Cripps. Cripps becomes our boy. He's hanging out at our camp. Now Cripps has been with us this whole journey. Now we get another person with Maggie. Maggie comes into the posse, right? And these people look like fixtures to me. They don't look like the fly-by-night characters that are going to come and go. Obviously, Cripps isn't. But now we own a property with Maggie, so we're in business with her unless she kicks the bucket or something happens to her. We're not going to let that happen. So we've got Maggie and Cripps. We've got the chef downstairs. He's with us now too, right? And I think what we're going to start seeing is all of these things are going to start adding up, where our crew is going to get bigger, our permanent crew, and then we're going to start losing people, which is going to be emotional for the players who've become so attached to these characters. Because imagine if Cripps died today. There'd be a huge, anybody who plays this game, Cripps is your boy. You see him every day, no matter what you do. And imagine if all of a sudden Cripps is gone, right? So we're going to be getting into attachment to characters, building relationship with characters, and they're going to try to shape this world in a very kind of role-play-ish atmosphere. In other words, it's not going to be just kind of superficial meetings with characters. These are going to be in-depth meetings with people that you build relationships with, and then maybe something happens to them. Look what you obviously know Rockstar is not afraid of killing off some fantastic characters. Like we lost John in the first one, we lost Arthur in this one. They're definitely not afraid to off some characters. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing. And I'd love to hear from you guys, kind of, who do you think is going to be joining us as a permanent member of the posse? Is it somebody that we've seen already that's going to be coming in, or is it somebody that we haven't seen and you guys just have a theory about a role that's going to bring in another important person to our posse in our lives in the game? If you go back and you play story mode, guys, and you compare it to the experience we're having online right now, it's pretty close. I even think that we're having more relationships in our online kind of interaction with other players, or not players, but other NPCs and characters. I think that we're catching up, if not right there, with the depth of involvement with the story mode of Red Dead. So we've got a game that has so much potential, and a president that has a 6 to 10 year commitment on backing this game up, giving us more content and making it a grind and a role play experience where it's not just pay to play, right? That is what really brought me back in, and I said I can sink my teeth into this and really I love this game. I have never played another game like it, and I think that you guys could see how much fun this game is. If you're playing this game, it's an immersive world. And knowing that the guy who's steering the ship is going to put us in a good direction, that we can really become passionate about these characters and developing their backstories and things like that is amazing. Okay, so that being said, we're going to talk about some roles that we want to see coming. Now, I want to hear from you guys, and we want to hear from you guys, especially in the comment section here, because we want your ideas and feedback, and we want this to be a community. So please, guys, leave a comment and your thoughts about why you think this role is coming and what you think would be cool about it. Get other people thinking about it. You know what I mean? We don't just want this one-sided, guys. We want your involvement. We want to build a family and want to build an army of great players and good people that all hang out together, and it's just a crazy mess in here. Okay. Excuse me. So, my good friend Wade Wilson is here. We're lucky to have him. I've known Wade since the first grade. He is an outstanding person. He's one of the most technologically savvy people I know. And Wade has some great ideas about things he wants to see coming to the game. And one of them is, tell him about what you think, Wade. Tell him about what you want to see coming.
Thanks for that intro, Uncle Frank. Yeah, Wade Wilson, Savage Rock TV here. Yeah, actually, Uncle Frank, what I'd like to see is I'll be honest, I love moonshiners and everything, but what I was hoping to see is like a rancher or a gold miner, something to that effect.
I love that.
What do you think about those?
I love that, man. I love that. You and I have talked about this before, and I think the gold miner is something so cool. And I think that the only problem with that is, how do we get the gold, right? How do we make gold something that's part of a role that makes sense, because if we have a gold mining operation, right, how are we gonna, we can't just have a couple of gold nuggets come out of that thing every 2 hours. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, what do you think?
Right, and the problem becomes the gold, well, the economy of the game. There's gold, and then there's the money inside of the game. And if you start to mine gold, and then people can buy gold, how do you separate those? You know,
right?
How do you?
Yeah.
You can't give it, somebody 10 bars of gold a day.
Right.
It'll ruin the whole economy of the game.
That's exactly right. So how do we? I'd love to see it. I think that they could come up with a way. You and I have thought about it, and while we're playing and wander around the game, we've talked about this before, and we talked about maybe mining different minerals, right? Maybe we have a copper mine instead of a gold mine. Yeah. Right.
That would work.
There's got to be a way that, and we've tried to come up with a solution, but there's people out there a lot smarter than us, and people that watch this channel that could probably figure this out. How do we come up with a way to have a gold mine in the game, guys, and not have it ruin the economy, where somebody who ends up, working their way up and getting a gold mine, let's say, is not just churning out 50 gold bars a day and messing up the economy, where they just become like, they have so much money, it ruins the game for them and becomes a problem in world for everybody else. If you guys have a solution for that, we'd love to hear about it. And the rancher thing, man, I think is a beautiful, beautiful idea. That's something that everybody in one way or another, I think, has always wanted. To own a piece of property in this game, that you have a house that you can decorate, and I think Rockstar is phenomenal, man, with the detail they put into their kind of upgrades and theme changes and all that stuff. So man, owning that house would be so cool. And having the property outside, like I imagine having, you got your stable that you can make larger, right? You can upgrade the stable, you get more horses and make the stable nicer, the decor, right? And then from there, this is what I always wanted, dude. I always wanted to have like a ranch where, and not necessarily a ranch. I was thinking, I guess a ranch. But we had cattle on it, let's say, too, right? And we can catch these animals or buy these animals from other players, slaughter these animals when they get to a certain age, and then sell the animal pellets, or not even slaughter them. We sell them to another person who slaughters them, right? We raise these cows, for example, or you're breaking horses, or and you can add pigs. And here's the thing that I don't know why, because I'm not a florist in real life. Chickens, pigs, all of it. You know what I mean? Like, and just have a farm life. And then, how about this?
Because let's be honest, too. The moonshine chat, even though it's a property, it's not really our property.
Right.
It's Maggie's.
Right. Yeah. Well, think about this too. And this is, I don't know why I really always wanted to have this, because I'm not I'm not a gardener in real life, and I don't do it in real life, but I want to have a garden in here, like a big thing on the ranch that get, that I can, whatever herbs that we find in world, we can come back and plant the seeds. You know what I mean? Like, how cool would that be? You just come back and you plant the seeds there, and whatever herbs that you get, you can just they grow, and over time you just go into your garden and pick, or you could sell those. You know what I mean? And you can go so many places from there. Maybe you gotta, when you buy your ranch, dude, maybe you gotta buy a piece of land and you gotta cut down trees and build your house and cabin. You know what I mean? Like, Rockstar could come up with a layout that
start out with a little shack, then you add on to it.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can buy, let's say, pre-laid out floor plans. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you can buy a medium, a large, or whatever kind of house, and then you can, add on to those houses, to that house, the stable, but you actually have to cut down the wood, mill that stuff out, and then actually build your house in your ranch. I think that would be so cool, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree.
So you're gonna have it would be cool to have the ranch, right? We'd have the ranch, and there's so many places to go from there. Think about the rancher as a job. Inside that, you've got the horse breaking, you've got the cattle raising, you've got the Uncle Frank gardening for some reason.
Right.
I don't know. Flowers. Uncle Frank always wanted to be a florist since Police Academy. Remember Bubba Smith when he was Too Tall Jones? He was just coming in.
Why do you think they went with the moonshiner? Why do you think they went with moonshiner before something like a rancher?
I think they had a plan. I think they did. Like I said, I think it was broken up into 3 roles. So you've got, the 3 roles that we originally got with the trader, the collector, and then the bounty hunter, right? And then, so imagine you're sitting down, Rockstar, you're in a meeting. It's not, you know what I mean? They've got studio heads and, executives, and then you've got your creators and, heads of studio, things like that. And they have to present something to somebody that gets okayed. So they say, here's 12 roles. I don't know why I have the number 12. It's just, I really think it's going to be 12 roles because it just makes sense on paper that they would present something like this. Okay, so 12 roles. And then they have a list of these 12, and they just pick from that list. You know what I mean? That's why I think it didn't really... They're taking input from us for sure, and that definitely helps steer the ship. But at the end of the day, they probably had 12 solid ideas, because they're going to have to be building these things and developing them. You know what I mean? And actually, it's not something that they can just hear like an idea and implement that tomorrow. I mean, it's something they actually have to put into play and get programmers working on and all that stuff. So I think we had 12 roles. And they looked at the 12 roles, and like I said, they released 3, and it was a shit show of problems for them. Technically, feedback-wise, and then there was this massive layoff without content. And everybody was like, where's the content? Where's the content? There's no content for people. And Rockstar took that into consideration and said, how about this? Let's trickle these releases out. Instead of doing 3 per quarter, let's do 1 a month, and we can manage everything that happens with one of these things a month. And I really think that that's what happened.
So you do think you do believe there's going to be another one coming next month?
I'll say that if I'm right, it'll be this month. Because when did we get the Moonshiner? We got it like December 12th or something like that, around there. You know what I mean? Like middle of December, middle of January, we're gonna get Lawman
13th.
Or
Wait, was
it
perfect? The 12th.
I think it was. It was like a Friday release too. It was weird.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 13th. Yeah.
Yep. Friday the 13th. Okay. I think. Okay. So if I'm right about this theory, we're gonna know January 13th, because I think, or whatever, it's 30 days from that point, a month from that point, whatever it's gonna be. That's when we're gonna get the next release. I really think that's how it's gonna go. And then we're going to get another release. And I think these releases we're going to get are going to be either lawman or villain. And if I'm right about that, we're pretty much going to be able to predict what's going to happen from there. We're going to be able to figure out lists we just want to figure out that list that got submitted. You know what I mean? They can change it, obviously, if the people are like pleading for stuff. And it just makes sense too. Look at all the cool stuff they did with GTA. Whenever you guys think about like how things are going to work, imagine an evolved system of GTA, but those are the bare bones, because it's worked for this company, and they're not going to back away from that. Look at the properties, the way that they did it. We could select a location, just like what happened in GTA. You bought like a motorcycle club, right? You didn't just get a motorcycle club in place A. You got to select from the map Where are these places? Which one do I want? Boom, happens same way when we're getting a property here. So think about
Right.
GTA. Think about all the roles, how many, and it's 6 years into GTA right now. Think about how far that game has come in 6 years. They just got a huge casino release. So I think what people can take from this is you're most likely going to get the role that you want. And here's why. GTA roleplay is huge. It's all over the internet. It's like millions of people are doing this advanced roleplay with GTA, right? And I got involved with it. I tried it a little bit. Police is one of the #1 role plays, and they want vehicles and uniforms and all this stuff. Everybody was fiending for it for years to help them, so they don't have to beat up a cop, drag him out of the car, and take his squad car every day to do their role play. And Rockstar never did it. And I think what Rockstar did was they really listened to this role play community, because it is such a part of their game. It is such a part of their success and longevity of their company, that I think that Rockstar is going to give us all of the stuff that we were asking for in a way from GTA. We wanted the cops, and blah, blah, blah. They're going to give it to us here. We have 6 years, 6 to 10 years to give us what we want. And I think we're all, in one way or another, going to get what we want. It's just, when are you going to get what you want? You're going to get it this year, next year, the third year, but this is a grind. This is something you want to sink your teeth into, and you're going to have time to do it. It's not going to be, you don't have to worry, man. They're in this for the long haul, and that's why I came back. So let me just assure you guys of that. This guy, he seemed to really believe in this, and financially, it makes sense. This was the #2 media release of all, or entertainment release of all time. That's bigger than almost anything, guys. They're not going to just let this go. They're going to give it to us. It's just, when are they going to give it to us, and what do we want to, what I mean? What do we want to see? Now, there's a couple of things that I wanted to see, and I think that and I really want to hear from you guys who are listening to this. It's really important, guys. Don't let me and Wade just sit here and talk to each other, because it'll get weird. So the things that I really wanted to see, there's 2 things. I want to see a fisherman. And by fisherman, bro, I don't mean you get a rod and a reel and we walk, put the fish in a whatever, rowboat, and we row it back to Le Gras. No.
Be careful, because Rockstar grind makes you grind. You might have to do that.
I know, but I mean, I'm willing to grind to do that, 100%. But I want to have casting nets, like where I'm casting nets and catching like the smaller fish, like the perch or whatever, right? The bluegills. And then I want to work up to having a boat, small boat, like a rowboat. Then I want to have like one of the boats that's parked in Le Gras. You ever see this, like an old, looks like a shrimp boat, and with nets hanging off the side that you can drag in the water for, you know what I mean? Maybe I can't get shrimp. I mean, I'm sure they could put shrimp in here, for crying out loud. But then, and then maybe build up to, like, I don't know, like the shrimp boats with the nets is as far as I really got in my head. Like I was like,
even, it'd be cool
be?
to just catch large schools of the fish that they already have in there, even if it was just that, like you're pulling out a bunch of, I don't know. What's the fish you catch off the shore there a lot?
You can get like rock. I mean, just depending on what the area you wanted to fish. You know what I mean? You would have different, just make it realistic. If you're fishing, in a river, you're not going to take a boat up river. You know what I mean? So,
right.
You know what I mean? Like you could use casting nets there. You know what I mean? You would use like smaller boats for different things, but you could have a boat for, let's say, Flat Iron Lake. You could have a decent sized fishing boat. And here's what I really want from this. Once we set up a business, just like in real life, I want to be able to hire people to do the job for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have to go to this boat every single day if I don't want to. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to do that. What I'm saying is I want to have
I agree, though.
The option to hire either players, which I think would be super cool, or NPCs. And here's the beautiful thing, man. People aren't even ready for what things that are going to be coming in this game straight out of GTA. Not many people who played, if you didn't play GTA, you don't know that in GTA I could go to a room, hire a hit squad of NPCs to pull up out in front with SUVs and machine guns and smoke you and watch it from a camera. Do you know what I mean? Bro, I think we're going to be able to hire people to do all kinds of stuff. Maybe work for us, definitely protect us, attack people. You know what I mean? All that stuff, I think, because it was in GTA. We're going to get a more advanced, evolved version of what's available to us. You know what I mean? And that I think would be so cool, man, to be fishing or to set up. You know, I just imagine, I don't know why. I just imagine going down in the morning, you know, with like a cup of coffee, and you're going to your boat as the sun rises, and you got your boys loading on the crates of bait and get the nets ready, and they pull out. You know what I mean? It'd be so
Yeah.
cool, dude. I don't know why I
Yeah.
always see it in the
It
garage either,
would
but
be
I
cool.
just, yeah, maybe it's like the Bubba Gump. I got a thing with the Bubba Gump shrimp industry. Okay, really quick.
All right.
One more thing, and then we'll let you guys go. We've had about 40 minutes, about a half an hour right now. Yeah, we've done a half an hour. We'll get another couple of minutes in with you guys, keep you guys entertained. And this is the thing that I've talked about a lot with other people. I want to be able to have a family in this game. I want to be able to have a home with in a relationship with either an NPC, a player, or whatever you want. But you can actually create like a wildlife, or not wildlife, a
When you say a family, you mean like get married?
maybe like an option. Yeah, I don't know if it should be the NPCs or players. I mean, stuff might get. I think it should be whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, remember there was Skyrim. Remember in Skyrim you'd play, you could have a wife and you'd get married. I married like 4 different women in different towns. You know what I mean? Because no, let's be realistic. Back then, these girls aren't walking that far. No, I mean, but serious. So why can't we have something like that in here? And in GTA, I can go to my house and call a stripper over, and she just come over and grind on me and shit. But we got brothels in here with nothing happening. Do you know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah.
a little. Well, that would be the. Before we get into the family thing, let me just talk about this. I think they should have. You should be able to buy a what do you call it? A whorehouse, a brothel, 100%, and you should be able to get income from that business. I'm not saying you should be in there doing all kinds of. I mean, they got to limit the amount of weird you can do, but it's the oldest profession in the world, and there's brothels in the game where girls are doing weird stuff. Right? You know what I'm saying? That would be so. I don't know how they can work that in. Maybe that's just Uncle Frank's weird fantasy. But I'm saying let's do it. Okay, back to the family thing. I just think it would be cool. NPCs or players. Players would be dope. I think that people, this is an adult game. You should be able to be an adult and have adult relationships. This is an 18 and over game. So why can't you marry another player in here? And then I don't know how I feel about NPC babies and stuff like that running around, but just a relationship with another player in the game on your ranch. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe you have something like, you know, you can form a family. Like, remember in history, it would be like the Hatfields and McCoys. Remember that? It was like this huge rivalry. Most of and this is why this idea popped into my head. It's not just Frank wanting to get married before you all start that shit in the comments. It's about it's about the way that the Wild West in this time period really was. These were sparse areas of land. These are sparse, you know, your neighbors were miles and miles away. And people were having a lot of sex and breeding the living hell out of each other. And the families that got biggest and the most members became the most powerful. And they would, because it just makes sense, right? If you got one huge family with 10 or 15 kids, they got
now, what
10.
What are you talking about? 10 to 15 NPC kids?
No. I'm talking about, okay. So instead, let's say, so we got like a posse right now. Yeah, if I'm not making this clear, I don't want NPC. I don't want 10 to 15 NPC children. let me just rewind that. Okay, I'm talking about making a family. In other words, you buy your house with a ranch, you hire, blah 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 to take care of the horses or whatever. You can also have people join your family who become like a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle to other people that are in this family, because in the Wild West, the biggest families became the most powerful people usually, because Uncle Bobby is a lawyer and Uncle Jimmy is the judge, and so is the police, you know, the sheriff, and the other one owns the bakery in town, because it's a huge family that moved into these towns and set up these massive kind of empires, right? So, for an example, think about what do they yell at us in the game? You messed with the Skinners, you know what I mean? Or you messed with, you know, these different families.
Yeah.
And
the old Driscolls.
The old Driscolls are here. You know what I mean? Like, the whole game was about 1 or 2 or 3 families, and that's how it really was.
The Lobos.
Right. And that shit was like, these guys are the Mexican versions of these powerful families, and it's just reality, man. And this game is so versed in and this kind of in-depth, uncomfortable reality that I think it would be a great thing where if instead of having just a posse, you buy a ranch, you can start a family. And you don't have to, I'm not saying you got to have sex with enough people to make these people and then people play these. I'm not saying that. People just join the family like you join a posse. But you join this family and it's a more in-depth.
Oh, now I really got what you're saying.
Now you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm a little slow.
I'm just hoping that anybody listening wasn't like, what the hell is Frank talking about?
No, I get it.
You get
like
it now.
A family like the Owl Hoot family, the O'Driscoll family.
Yes.
Cousin Earl, Cousin Buford.
Yeah, and you're going to have, just like in real families, you're going to have really stupid people and really capable people. And just like our friends in the game.
I guess I'd be
You'd be the slow one. That's going, I was my member of the family. Come on, Bobby, we got stuff to do.
Stop kissing your cousin.
Yeah, get out of the barn and let Susie up. But anyway. So I think that would be so cool, man. And I think that the stuff that we've talked about will really get you guys thinking. We're going to give it a little, we've done about almost 40 minutes or so. I want to close it up for you guys because I don't want to, first episode, I want you guys to get involved. Let us know what you guys are really thinking. Leave some comments about what you guys think about the ideas that you heard. Things that you want to see coming, anything that kind of pops into your head, we want you involved. Don't be scared to leave a comment and think somebody's going to think you're stupid, because I'm stupid and we're going to make this work together.
Me too.
You know what I mean? There's nobody, we're in this together. We want you guys to have fun on this channel. That's what this thing is all about. We don't want anybody walking around up here thinking I can't say something because I don't want. We want that information from you because we're just going to have fun with it. And maybe you get, maybe you're right. You know what I mean? Maybe you hit it on the nose, and we're going to try to give you guys inside information that we hear from weirdos that we hang out with that we shouldn't hang out with because they're not a good influence on Uncle Frank or Wade. So I really want to thank you guys for tuning in from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean the world to me. Stay safe out there. Remember that Uncle Frank loves you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, ring the bell, the whole damn thing, and we will see you guys really soon.